This film is for training and information purposes only. The fire system shown here is generic and is not to be used as a guide for system installation. Each system is different because each site requires customizing the fire alarm system in accordance with the local fire code and owner requirements. Edwards Systems Technology, the leader in fire alarm systems, welcomes you to the instructional package on the operation and service of the EST3 fire alarm system. The EST3 system was developed with you, the end user, in mind. This system is the only one of its kind in the industry. Its modular construction and user-friendly front panel controls are two of the many features this system has to offer. You'll see just how easy it is to operate and service this system as we progress through this video presentation. Part 1 of this video will cover the basic operation of the EST3 system. Part 2 will discuss operation of the 3 ASU FT audio source unit and firefighter's telephone. Part 3 will discuss special functions for EST3 service and maintenance. Be sure to keep the EST3 end user's operation and service manual handy, as everything mentioned in this video is further elaborated on in the manual. Part 1, EST3 operation. Let's begin by looking at the system's primary operator interface, the 3 LCD display, and review its LED indicators and switches. The top portion of the panel contains the system LEDs. The power status LED is a green LED, which is lit when AC power is present. Should this LED go out, it indicates that the AC power has been lost, and the system will switch to its standby power source. The test status LED is a yellow LED, which is lit when any portion of the system is in test mode. The CPU fail status LED is a yellow LED, which is lit when the 3 CPU central processor unit detects a microprocessor failure. The ground fault status LED is a yellow LED, which is lit when isolated wiring connected to the cabinet's equipment has continuity to ground. The disable status LED is a yellow LED, which is lit when any point or zone input is disabled by an operator. Just below the system LEDs are the system switch LEDs: reset, alarm silence, panel silence, and drill. Pressing the reset switch LED activates the system's reset sequence to restore the system to normal. The LED remains lit throughout the 3-stage reset sequence. Pressing the alarm silence switch LED turns off the audible notification appliances activated by an alarm. The LED indicates a silenced condition. Note that only authorized personnel may silence an alarm and/or reset the system. Pressing the panel silence switch LED turns off the panel's internal buzzer. Additionally, viewing all queue messages automatically silences the buzzer and lights the panel silence LED. Pressing the panel silence and alarm silence switches simultaneously activates the system's lamp test function. This tests the system's LEDs as programmed. Pressing the drill switch activates the fire drill function. Note that this switch may be custom programmed to perform a function other than a drill. In the center of the 3 LCD display is the display screen, which shows the system status. The screen itself is a 168-character backlit alphanumeric liquid crystal display. Just below the LCD screen are the 4 LED message queue switches for alarm, supervisory, trouble, and monitor messages. All of the LED message queue switches function in the same manner. When a message is received by the system, the corresponding LED flashes. Messages are acknowledged by pressing the appropriate queue switch. When all messages for that queue have been acknowledged, the LED will light steady. Pressing the switch again allows for viewing of the messages which have been acknowledged by the system. The alarm queue switch has a red LED, and the supervisory, trouble, and monitor switches all have yellow LEDs. The expanded message switch is used to display a list of active devices in the active group or zone during an alarm or alert condition, but only if your system has been programmed to do so. The previous next message switch is used to scroll through messages present in the selected queue when multiple messages are present. The command menu switch displays the system command menu used to access advanced system functions, including status, enable, disable, activate, restore, control output, reports, program, and test. The numeric keypad is used in conjunction with command menu functions. Included on the keypad are an Enter key and a Delete or Backspace key. Optional control LED displays which would be used to enunciate off-normal conditions may also be a part of the EST3 system. Next, we'll look at the 3 LCD display screen. Shown here is a typical 3 LCD display in a normal state with no active events. The current time and date are shown at the top of the screen, the system title is in the center, and the alarm history is shown on the bottom line. When the system is in an off-normal condition, as seen here, the display consists of system time, number of active points, number of disabled points, event queue sequence number, event type, first highest priority active event, most recent highest priority event, and number of active alarm events. Note that the queue which is in reverse text indicates the queue holding the first highest priority event. Next is the number of active supervisory events, number of active troubled events, and number of active monitor events. The EST3 system reports 4 basic conditions within the system: alarm, supervisory, trouble, and monitor. It is important to note that these conditions are prioritized. What this means is that when off-normal points are detected within the system, they are going to be displayed according to their level of priority or importance. The order in which they are presented here is their prioritization order. An alarm message might look like this. Remember, alarm messages always have the highest priority. They must be acknowledged via the alarm queue switch before any other messages will be displayed. When all alarm messages have been viewed, supervisory messages can be reviewed by using the supervisory queue switch. After reviewing and acknowledging the supervisory messages, trouble messages may be reviewed. Finally, after all other messages have been reviewed, the monitor messages can be acknowledged. Let's take a look at what to do when the system receives an alarm. Keep in mind that functions may vary from system to system according to programming. If you have any questions regarding specifics about your system's operation, be sure to check with your system administrator. The alarm mode is activated when an alarm device in the system initiates a fire response. These devices may be smoke detectors, as shown here, manual pull stations, or other fire detection devices. An activation by one of these alarm-initiating devices indicates that there is a fire in the area. When an alarm is detected by the system, it is indicated by the flashing red LED on the alarm queue switch, and a message appears on the display screen showing the location of the point in alarm. An example of an operator's response to an alarm might be: A. Ensure all occupants within the area have been evacuated. B. Notify the fire department. C. After you locate the source of the alarm, acknowledge the message via the alarm queue switch. Then, press the panel silence switch to silence the trouble buzzer. If the alarm message is the only message in the system, the panel silence LED will automatically be activated once the message has been acknowledged. If another initiating device goes into alarm, the internal buzzer will sound again and the new message will appear. D. Once all of the fire alarm messages have been acknowledged, the fire department has been notified, and the fire has been extinguished, the audible notification signals such as horns and bells may be silenced via the alarm silence switch, but only by those authorized by the local fire authority to do so. In most cases, this will be the fire department's responsibility. Under no circumstances should you silence an alarm without proper authority to do so. Pressing the alarm silence switch will silence the audible circuits, but the strobe circuits and other visual notification devices will continue to operate unless they have been programmed differently. Should another point go into alarm, the alarm silence LED will go out and the audibles will sound again. When all signs of danger have been removed and the area deemed safe for occupancy, The fire department authority on scene will restore the panel to normal operation by pressing the reset switch. Note, fixed temperature heat detectors will still indicate an alarm state upon reset and will require investigation. Additionally, manual pull stations which have been activated will require a manual reset. The second mode of system operation we'll discuss is the supervisory mode. A supervisory condition indicates that some part of the fire protection system other than alarm devices is off normal. An example of this would be a closed sprinkler system valve. The supervisory condition will be indicated by the flashing yellow LED on the supervisory cue switch and a message identifying the specific device or area that initiated the condition will appear on the display screen. Again, messages may be acknowledged and reviewed by pressing the supervisory cue switch. In this case, only authorized personnel should investigate the cause of the supervisory condition and take the necessary actions to rectify the situation. Once the supervisory condition has been corrected or returned to normal, the messages will automatically disappear and the panel will restore to the normal condition. The next mode we'll examine is a trouble condition. A trouble condition indicates that some portion of the fire alarm system is not functioning properly and may affect the integrity of the system and its ability to report a fire condition. A trouble condition should only be repaired by authorized EST distributors or certified EST service personnel. A trouble condition is indicated by a flashing yellow LED on the trouble cue switch and a message on the display screen. Messages are acknowledged and reviewed by pressing the trouble cue switch. Once the trouble has been repaired by certified personnel, the message will automatically disappear from the panel memory and the system will return to normal. The final mode we'll examine is the monitor condition. A monitor condition means that equipment monitored by the fire alarm system but unrelated to an emergency condition is in an off-normal condition. Some typical causes of a monitor condition include open or unsecured doors and disabled fan systems. Often, monitor conditions do not indicate a problem, they simply show you the current status of a specific item. If you suspect a problem, notify certified or designated personnel to investigate. When a monitor condition is active, the monitor cue LED will light and a corresponding message will appear on the display screen. Again, messages may be acknowledged and reviewed by pressing the monitor cue switch. Ordinarily, the specific point being monitored will be enunciated by a designated LED on adjacent control LED displays. Once the condition has been repaired by certified personnel, the message will automatically disappear from the panel memory and the system will return to normal. Well, that's the basic operation of the EST3 system. If you have further questions regarding specifics of the system, refer to your EST3 End Users Operation and Service Manual. Part 2, 3ASU FT Audio Source Unit, Firefighters Telephone Operation. Next, let's look at the operation of the 3ASU Audio Source Unit. The 3ASU is the control point for all audio signals distributed by the EST3 system. The 3ASU comes in two models, the 3ASU and the 3ASU FT, which consists of the 3ASU and a 3FT-CU firefighter's telephone. We'll be using the 3ASU FT for the purposes of this demonstration. First, we'll look at the components which make up the 3ASU. There's a paging microphone which has a push-to-talk switch and is used for making announcements. The page level meter indicates the paging volume. Note that when paging you should speak at a level which just causes the last LED to flicker. There's also the ready to page LED which flashes green until the system is ready to page, then it lights steady. The all-call switch LED, when lit green, indicates the system is in an all-call mode. Note, pressing any of the switches a second time will cause the system to exit that mode. Also, pressing any of the non-active switches will cause the system to exit from the current mode. The all-call minus switch LED with its green LED indicates that the 3ASU is in an all-call minus mode, which directs the page to the areas of the facility which are not receiving evac or alert tones or messages. The phone page switch LED also has a green LED and indicates a phone page mode, which allows the firefighter's phone to be used in place of the paging microphone for paging throughout the facility. The alert switch LED with its green LED indicates that the 3 ASU is in alert mode. Pressing the alert switch directs the page to areas of the facility which are receiving the alert tones or messages. And finally, the evac switch LED with its green LED indicates the evac mode. Pressing this switch directs the page to areas of the facility which are receiving the evacuation tones or messages. Now let's examine the 3 FTCU Firefighters Telephone Unit and its components. This unit consists of the master telephone handset, which permits the operator to communicate with dedicated firefighters' telephone stations throughout the facility. The connect switch, which is used to connect the incoming calls to the master telephone handset. The review pending switch, which scrolls the list of pending incoming calls. The acknowledge switch, which silences the call-in buzzer. The LCD display, which shows the status of the firefighter's telephone system. The disconnect switch, which is used to remove the connected phone. The review connected switch, which scrolls the list of connected calls. And finally, the instruction card, which shows a simple list of operating instructions. Now, let's take a look at how to use the 3 ASU-FT when the system goes into an alarm condition. Note that the distribution of the evacuation tones or messages is done automatically by the EST3 system as programmed. The first thing you'll need to do is use the all-call function to announce the arrival of the fire department and make any necessary announcements. Next, use the page to evac switch to select the evac areas to reinforce the evacuation of the occupants in areas receiving the evacuation signal. For example, occupants may be directed to follow the evacuation plan but not use the elevators. Then, use the alert function to notify areas not in immediate danger to prepare to evacuate, or to notify those areas that people being evacuated may be entering their area as an area of refuge. Finally, use the all-call minus function to make announcements to areas of the facility not receiving the evac or alert signals as required. Typically, stairwells are areas which need to be accessed using the all-call minus function. If your system is equipped with zone page controls, which may be configured as control LED displays, they may also be used to manually select paging areas. Now we'll look at how to page using the 3 ASU. It's important to note that the page signal automatically overrides any other incoming signal such as evac and alert tones or messages. First, you'll want to select the areas to receive the page by pressing the appropriate page function switch or switches. The switch's LED will light steady when the system is ready to receive the page. Press the push-to-talk switch on the microphone. The ready-to-page LED will flash while the pre-announcement tone is sounding. Begin the announcement once the ready-to-page LED is on steady. Adjust your voice level so that the far right LED on the page level meter only flickers occasionally. Release the push-to-talk switch when finished making the announcement. The system will turn off the page and return to its pre-page condition after a short delay. If your system is equipped with a remote paging microphone, it may be used to issue pages throughout the facility. The remote microphone page is automatically overridden by any pages issued by the local microphone in the audio source unit or a phone page. Note that each remote microphone installation is customized. Therefore, you should refer to site-specific information to determine which areas of the facility automatically receive the page and how to select specific areas to receive the page. Let's move on to the operation of the 3 FTCU Firefighters Telephone Control Unit. The LCD display on this unit provides the operational status of the phone system. During a normal condition, the display looks like this. The top line shows that there are no incoming calls pending. Then there's the title block, and on the bottom line, the phone system status is shown as normal. When a local trouble or fault is detected on the firefighter's telephone system, a trouble indication will appear on the second line of the display. Circuit faults require the use of the 3 LCD main system display to find the specific cause of the problem. When an incoming call is initiated by taking a firefighter's telephone off the hook or plugging it into a remote telephone jack, the caller hears a tone indicating the connection is good, and the call-in buzzer is activated at the 3 FTCU. This is the display screen that will be shown. The number of incoming calls is always listed on the top line of the display. The identification of the incoming call appears in reverse text on the second line of the display. Should multiple calls be pending, the reverse text display will slowly scroll through the incoming calls. The number of connected calls will increment as pending calls are answered. To answer an incoming call, silence the call-in buzzer by pressing the acknowledge switch. The buzzer will resound each time a new incoming call is received. Note that up to 5 phone calls may be connected at any one time. If multiple calls are shown in the display, stop the call identifier sequencing by pressing the Review Pending switch once. Each additional activation of the Review Pending switch manually steps the display through the list of incoming calls. When the desired call appears on the pending calls identification line, stop stepping through the calls. To answer the selected call, press the Connect switch. The call identifier will move from the pending calls identification line of the display to the connected call list at the bottom of the display. Once connected, you are ready to begin your conversation. Additional calls can be added to the same conversation by following the same procedure. To disconnect a call, press the Review Connected switch until the call to be disconnected appears in the reverse text box. Then press the Disconnect switch. This removes the call from the connected calls list and adds it to the pending calls list. When the remote phone is hung up or removed from the phone jack, it will be removed from the calls pending list. Hanging up the master handset in the 3 FTCU transfers all calls to the calls pending list. If the remote calls have not been hung up within 20 seconds, the call-in buzzer will resound. The 3 FTCU may also be used in conjunction with the 3 ASU phone page switch. Pressing this switch permits an individual talking on the firefighter's telephone system to make announcements over the emergency voice alarm communication system. The first thing you'll need to do is establish a phone connection with the 3 FTCU by pressing the Connect switch. Select the areas to receive the page the same way you would when using the 3 ASU microphone. Then, press the phone page switch and instruct the individual who is doing the remote paging to begin speaking after the pre-announcement tone has finished. Keep in mind that the phone page is under complete control of the 3 ASU FT and may be interrupted at any time by pressing the phone page switch a second time. Part 3, EST3 service for end users. Well, now that you've had a quick look at the operation of the 3 ASU FT, let's move on to discuss special functions for EST3 service and maintenance. Remember, this is only intended to be an overview of these functions. You should refer to your EST3 operation and service guide or the EST3 CD-ROM for further details on the service functions of your EST3 system. There are 9 advanced system functions which may be accessed through the command switch. These functions are primarily used when servicing the system. They are Status, Enable, Disable, Activate, Restore, Control Output, Reports, Program, and Test. Note that you can exit the command menu at any time and return to the normal system display by pressing the command switch a second time. Let's take a look at each of these functions. It should be remembered that any testing, repairing, or shutting down any part of the fire alarm system may require prior notification to the local fire department and/or the building's owner. All of the functions, except Status, require a specific password level in order to be accessed. You should check with your system administrator regarding any questions you have about password levels. The Status function is one of the primary tools available to locate system trouble conditions. This function is used to list active points and disabled points. The Active Points menu allows you to view any of the following: active points, active inputs, active outputs, and common troubles. An active point includes any input point or device in the EST3 network which is in the alarm or active condition, and every output point on the network which is in the set condition. Common troubles list all network-wide faults. The status function is also used to show all of the disabled points within the network. Accessing any of these functions brings up an output menu which gives the operator a choice of viewing the output on the 3 LCD display and/or sending the output to a printer. The next function we'll look at is the Disable function. The Disable function allows the operator to disable any of the following: devices, groups, guard patrols, panels, cards or modules, zones, operator controls, time controls, switches, and LEDs. It's important to note that the components are not turned off, they are simply taken out of service and are not responded to by the system controller. For example, if an EST service technician had to service a detector but needed to keep the rest of the system up and running, he could simply disable that detector and perform the necessary repairs while leaving the other devices operational. The number of disabled points will increment on the 3 LCD display screen, and the Disable LED on the 3 CPU will light. As shown previously, the status function can also be used to determine which points are disabled. The Enable function allows you to enable system items which were disabled by the Disable function. This function also allows you to enable time controls which are automatically disabled by a system restart. The Activate function may be used to turn on the following system outputs and functions: alternate sensitivity, alternate message route, guard patrol, and check-in groups. For example, activating the alternate sensitivity option changes the sensitivity levels for all devices from their primary settings to their alternate settings as programmed. The Restore function restores previously activated outputs or functions. This command will return alternate settings to their primary state, end guard patrols, and close the check-in group window. The Control Output function is used to manually command relays and LEDs. The Reports function supplies a list of reports which are available from the EST3 system. This list includes sensitivity reports, history reports, and revision levels. Choosing the Sensitivity Reports option activates this submenu. Here you may select to review any of the following: the Dirty Head list, which provides a list of all detectors which have less than 80% compensation remaining; a Single Device report, which provides a sensitivity listing of a specified detector, or a report on all loop devices, which provides a sensitivity listing of all detectors on a specified circuit. A History report provides a chronological listing of the most recent system events. Report on Revision levels provides a listing of all the firmware revision levels for all the installed network components. Any of these reports may be viewed on the 3 LCD display and/or may be sent to a printer. Next, let's look at the Program function. As shown here, the program mode is used to configure the system time, date, and passwords. It is also used to restart or reboot the system. This function also allows the operator to create the holiday list for setting time controls, clear the chronological system history file, and enable the RJ11 port for the downloading of data. The final function we'll look at is the Test function. Under this menu, you can start a system test, cancel a system test, enable a data segment which enables the network communications link between two cabinets, and disable a data segment which disables the network communications link between two cabinets. An important note here is that if an actual fire alarm were to occur during testing, the alarm would be displayed on the panel, but the system would not perform its pre-programmed functions such as off-premise notification. Therefore, as a precaution, if 30 minutes goes by without a device being tested, the system will automatically restore itself to normal operating mode. Well, there you have it. This has been a brief overview of the basic operation and service of the EST3 system. If you need further information, review the EST3 End Users Operation and Service Manuals. Then view this tape again.